what you are saying, it is stored in the attribute data, it is stored in the master data of product, but it will act as what? Characteristic in the queue. Why do you want it to act to us? Why don't you make as a characteristic in the queue? What's that doubt? Doubt wrong. Market ఎందుకు పెట్టాలి, మళ్ళీ అది క్యారెక్టరిస్టిక్ లాగా ఎందుకు యాక్టింగ్ చేయాలి బస్? వై డోంట్ యూ మేక్ దట్ యాజ్ ఎ క్యారెక్టరిస్టిక్ ఇన్ ద క్యూబ్? Use it. Once my information is created, can I use in n number of cubes? Can I use that model name in n number of cubes? Because that's why I never selected that checkbox attribute only. So I can use it in the attribute, I can use it in the cube also. Why not? So what could be the difference? Using model name as a direct characteristic in my cube and using as attribute and coming as navigation attribute. What could be the difference between these two? When you say navigation attribute, it acts as a characteristic. Why don't you make it as a characteristic in the cube under it? That is what the architects ask you. Why don't you make it as a characteristic in the cube? Why do you want it to act to us? What makes a difference? Still, whether I have got the navigation attribute or here, the aggregation happens because I am going to do right.
Where the option?
If you understood schema, come out, no issues. Yeah.
Where the option whether to take it as display attribute or navigation attribute?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, now the question comes now. Till now, what we're doing, all the attributes, now all in the cube. Now the question comes, now I've got model name. Can I store model name into master data or as a characteristic in my cube? Two places in the modeling. Okay? If I place as a characteristic in my cube, I can do drill down. If I place in the master data, I cannot do drill down. But even by storing in the master data, if I can set that as navigation attribute, I can do drill down also. So either you make it as a characteristic in the cube, I can do drill down. Either you make it as navigation attribute, I can do drill down bus. Now what would be the difference? So why don't I make it as characteristic? Why only navigation attribute? Why not as a characteristic in the cube?
Because of the relationship between my product and model.
Because if I get that into the cube and I'll assign to the same dimension where product is assigned, because relation is one model name, I got multiple products, one to many, right? I'll assign that to same dimension. I'll bring model name into cube, assign model name and product both to the same dimension. So I'll have dimension key, S side of product, S side of model name. What else you want?
Something relates to time dimension.
As per the schema, we have to maintain this
As per the schema, you have to maintain?
dimension.
What is it?
Less
dimension.
dimension.
Now look, he's saying if I make, it's a question. He says, if you make model name as a characteristic in the cube, it will increase the number of records in the dimension table. I'm saying no. Why? Because under one model name, sports 100, there are lot of products. What is the relationship between my model name and product? Under one model name, I have lot of products, one to many. Can I assign the same dimension? Even if you feel many to many, I'll assign this model name to separate dimension first if you're really worried about the size. If you're really worried about the size, when I assign both product and model name to same dimension, the relation is many to many, then what I'll do, I'll assign model name to separate dimension, but I'll make it as a characteristic in the cube.
Something relates to time independent.
More.
Suppose material group is there and one product is there, and after 4 years that product is changing to another material group.
Let's why 4 years? Let's say 4 days. Then what?
For 4 days.
Okay, then what?
So then maybe then we need to get the current report of what product is there.
Excellent. Look at this. What he says. What he's saying is, if I make it as navigation attribute, okay, I can do drill down in the reporting. But where is the value coming from? From the P table or from the from the cubes? P, from the master database. What is property of master database? Overwrite or additive base? Overwrite. Now today, I have the product 456 with 120, which is women's right. Tomorrow the name can change. Tomorrow the item 120 can change to something like a sports model bus. So what will happen in the reporting? All the reports for tomorrow will start showing that value of this 120 as what? Sports model. Because it doesn't give present truth. The value which is coming from the master data will give you present truth bus always. You're able to do drill down, you're able to act as a characteristic, but where is the value coming from? Master data. The property of master is what? Override. Will it give you latest truth, present truth? Yes or no? But if I make this characteristic, if I make this information as a characteristic in my cube and connect that to dimension, what happens? Let's say now it is women's right. Now you loaded some 1 lakh transaction. It is already loaded. Now the model name changes to what? Let's say sports. You load next set of records. So all the records which are already loaded in the cube, let's say 1 lakh, already has got 120, which is what? Women's nights. Now if you load whatever the next set of records you load, it is what? Sports. So will it give fact? All the transactions which are loaded before will show under what? Women's something. And then all the records what you load after the change will start showing under what? Sports. Is it not fact? చెప్పినాను కదన్నా స్కీమా చెప్పినప్పుడు I told you characteristic can take two places, either from the master, either from the characteristic in the cube. Marginal pette present truth bus. If I make that as characteristic in the cube, it gives you fact. Okay, Rana?
Total sales get affected.
Yeah, it gives you, depends on the requirement. Say you want fact. I want the fact. I want the fact bus. I don't want it this way. So what will I do? Now I will have to change my cube design now. Yes or no, pa? Let this navigational version be there. Okay, I'm not disturbing it. Now what I want is I want to change my cube. Does this cube has data? That is how you learn more. When you keep changing the existing design, you learn more. Now I got data is already there in the cube. Now I'm changing my cube. Can I change the cube when there is data in it? Can I change my data when there is data in it? Bus? Now I think product was listed as linear to dimension bus. If it is linear, that's what the question you asked me. In future, if I want to make it, how do I do? It is made as linear to dimension. Can I assign multiple characteristics to this? When a dimension is linear to, can I assign multiple characteristics to it? No. So I will not be able to change it now. Okay. So what I will do? What is it now? I will delete, change, load. But imagine if it is same thing I need to do in the real time bus. If I need to do same thing in the production environment, how will I do? There is lots of data in the cube already. Now I have a requirement to change my cube by adding a new info bit. What is the thought you will have? Approach. ఎట్లా చేయొచ్చు కొత్త క్యూబ్ చేసి దాన్ని వాడద్దానికి ఇప్పుడు ఇది వాడుకోండొచ్చు అది కూడా తప్పులే వాట్ వుడ్ బి యువర్ అప్రోచ్ దట్స్ వాట్ ఐమ్ సేయింగ్ ఎట్లా చేసి ఇట్స్ పెట్టాను ఇంగ్లీష్లో చెప్పు చాలు తెలుగులో చెప్పు క్యూబ్ ఉంది డేటా ఉంది దాన్ని మార్చాలి ఇప్పుడు ఏం చేయాలి హౌ విల్ యూ డూ దిస్ నీకు సిస్టమ్ ఇస్తే ఏం చేస్తుంది వాట్ విల్ యూ డూ దిస్ ఫర్గెట్ అబౌట్ హౌ యూ డూయింగ్ లాజికల్ థింకింగ్ ఐ వాంట్ నేనేం మార్చాలప్ప అంతే So can I think out this way? I got this cube, let's say this is A, which I want to change. I'll create one more cube B, load all the data from A to B, delete A, change, and then get the data back from A to B, B to A back. Cube A నువ్వు మార్చాల ఇంకో క్యూబ్ డమ్మీ కాపీ క్యూబ్ క్రియేట్ చేసుకుంటా ఏ నుంచి బీలోకి మొత్తం డేటా లోడ్ చేస్తా ఏలో డేటా డిలీట్ చేస్తా మారుస్తా మళ్ళీ బీలోంచి డేటా ఏ వేసుకుంటా సరిపోలే చెప్ప అంతే డౌట్ లేదా ఇది అర్థమైంది పాయింట్ నువ్వు నన్ను అడగలరు అగైన్ యూ షుడ్ ఆస్క్ మీ క్వశ్చన్ దట్స్ హౌ మోడలింగ్ ఇట్స్ ఆల్ అబౌట్ థాట్ యూ షుడ్ ఆస్క్ మీ వై షుడ్ యూ టేక్ డేటా ఇన్ టు బీ దెన్ గెట్ ఇట్ బ్యాక్ బస్ క్రియేట్ B cube with new changes in it, load data from A to B and start using B. Why do you want to load data from B to A again? Now then he says if you have to use B, then he says I have all my queries built on this cube bus. Which cube? A cube. Then if you want me to start using B, how will I? What about this queries? Don't worry, I can copy queries from one cube to another cube. There is a T code RSZC where you can copy queries from one cube to another cube. Then what is your problem? Why did you use B? Suppose if cube A is already used in, we said there's something multi-provider where you combine multiple cubes. Let's say I've created 100 multi-providers on top of this cube. If you need to start reusing B, should I go about changing all 100 multi-providers first? Even if you ask them to do nothing wrong, but doesn't make ROI is not there first. Doesn't make sense. So we have to bring in the change with more optimized solution. That's the solution. That is also solution. This is also, but which is more optimized? That is what it is. That is what they want people this way. They don't want people who can create cube. There are a lot of people who can create copy cube, who can load, who can delete. There are many people. If you give steps, step 1, create copy cube. Step 2, delete data in B. Step 3, load. If you do, there are a lot of people to do this. But based on the scenario, coming out with an optimized solution for an approach is what people are expecting. Getting what I'm saying? So now,
I understand. I mean, I know that you don't create a cube in practical scenario. You don't create a query directly on a cube. You create it on a multi-provider, some sort of an info provider. Now, fine. You create a copy. You delete. You bring the data. But the question is, if it's a production system, my query can be accessed at any time. So if you have a constraint where you say my data should be available, you can't ask for downtime. In that case, the queue data is not available for you.
Okay.
So is there still a way around it?
Then the only option what you try to do is from the same cube, instead of deleting, what they try to do is, you can generally they give you downtime. At least on Sunday, customer should go home. If they say I don't have that option also, there are customers who can say that. Now what we do in this case is, first, what are the query you say which is critical? I'll create copy cube B.
Okay.
Move the data from A to B. Move the query. So the query will be running on B now.
Right.
Now I'll delete A. Okay. Then reload data from B to A. Okay. Now again I'll start saying use the old query. That's what.
So in case of there's a multi-provider on top, then you start with the mappings of the multi-provider with the DQ.
Then at least for temporary purpose that day, I don't worry on multi-provider. Start using this BEX query directly. I can give them the query name for temporary purpose. If there's very critical, so much.
Would you do such a modeling directly from development, or you do that directly in production?
No, we do in the development and then transfer. You will change this in the development and then transport the changes to production bus. Now na problem now. For me, there's no one who is asking about me, no one is worried about me, so I'm just deleting what? All the data in the queue. Now I would like to add that characteristic into cube now. Right click, say what? Change. I no more. It's no more a line of dimension because I'm going to assign multiple characteristics. Right click and say what? Inform direct input. What is it? Model name. Now do I have model name into this cube as a characteristic? Now what is change happening in the design? Now this dimension ID will start getting dimension. It comes into existence now. Dimension ID, then what? SID of product, SID of model name.
Earlier dimension ID was
Clear? Okay.
Dimension table was just a view. What you showed last earlier.
No, it's what would be table.
It will be a table now. But last time when you showed that when you create something as line item,
Yeah.
the dimension table is more of a view rather than being a table.
It will be table. But the problem is now, always this is what generally people forget. Okay. Whenever you change a cube, obviously the transformations are inactivated. Because you should know this. So I just want to give some point about this. We had a similar kind of problems. Okay, I was doing support. Okay, I was just monitoring the system. So what regular maintenance team do is they keep changing cubes, ODs, all this. They keep moving bundle every Thursday. They keep moving it. No one knows what changes they are moving into system also. Okay, suddenly in the night we don't. So when let's say they change a cube and move it, they are not worried about transformation at all. So when the change of cube is moved to production, automatically the transformations and DTP becomes inactive. At night my loading happens and loading fails saying this object is inactive. Okay, even if I go to the office with person with 10 years experience also go there, what it does? Okay, choose start inactive. Okay, to activate it I don't have the access. I cannot activate the things in production. Then again I should do an emergency transport from production to transport this object and then load. Okay. So what we do is, that is what normal person do. Okay. So the logic is, how do we optimize this? If you say you're a perfect BW consultant, if you see one error, you should not see that again next day. That is a kind of stability you should provide to the customer. Okay. So what we did is, we had this inactive object like this. Then we developed one ABAP program in BW. Okay. When you run this program, it goes through the entire system, checks for inactive objects and gives me a list, and it sends that list to my email. So every Thursday they send out a transports. After those transports, my support team will run the program that gives me list of inactive objects. Then we immediately, because before we close of the day, we are sending out a mail to them saying these objects are inactive. Now what to do? Either they do a correction request in transport, or they ask me to activate this and do a correction request, so that the night loads will not fail. At the thoughts are all, you should start getting those thoughts. Okay, that's what. Okay, now I'll go to transformations and say change. Okay. Now look at very good logic. Now model name. You have added model name in the cube. But my transaction data file doesn't give model name for me. but the transaction data file doesn't give model name for me. So now tell me, how do you want to fill this model name? Routine. Routine date also. Give me logic. Don't worry about how I write, whether routine or something. Give me logic first. My source file is not giving me model name. How do I get that to my cube? That's what I want.
Read master data.
Huh?
Read
నీకు
master.
తెలుసు
First I check
పిఎస్ఎల్ యాడ్ చేయాలి చూడు నా ఏమిటంటే గో టు డేటా సోర్స్ యాడ్ వన్ మోర్ కాలం వాట్ మోడల్ నేమ్ ఇది నేను చేసి తప్ప మీరు అట్లా ఫాలో కావద్దండి ఇట్స్ నాట్ యాడ్ లైక్ దట్ ఓకే లెట్స్ సే యూ యాడ్ ఇట్ ఓకే నో ప్రాబ్లం యూ యాడ్ ద కాలం ఇన్ ద డేటా సోర్స్ వన్ మోర్ డమ్మీ కాలం బట్ ఈస్ దట్ కాలం గెటింగ్ వాల్యూ ఫ్రమ్ ద సోర్స్ నో హౌ విల్ యూ ఫిల్ స్టార్ట్ రొటీన్ అగైన్ ఇఫ్ యూ గో టు స్టార్ట్ రొటీన్ ఇఫ్ ఎస్ ఏ మోడల్ నేమ్ ఈక్వల్ టు సంథింగ్ స్పోర్ట్స్ అని అనుకో ఎవ్రీ రికార్డ్ టేక్ స్పోర్ట్స్ ఇస్ ఇట్ కరెక్ట్ కాదు కదా ఒక్కో ప్రోడక్ట్కి ఒక్కో డిఫరెంట్ మోడల్ నేమ్ ఉంది సో ఈవెన్ ఇఫ్ ఐ యాడ్ ఎ కాలం ఇయర్ ఓకే ఆయన లాజిక్ పరంగా ఈవెన్ ఇఫ్ ఐ యాడ్ ఎ కాలం ఇన్ మై డేటా సోర్స్ హౌ విల్ ఐ ఫీల్ దట్ అది ఇంపార్టెంట్ వాట్ ఇస్ దట్ లుక్అప్ ఫర్ వాట్ లుక్అప్ ఆన్ వాట్ టు ఫర్ వాట్ దట్స్ వాట్ ఐ వాంట్ టూ థింగ్స్ నౌ see if you look at the incoming data source field I have product key. So for each record what is coming from source, do I know what is a product key? If you know what is product key, can you give me a model name? From where can I get that? Master data P table unda. If I go to P table, can I find out for a given product key what is my model name? So why don't you fill it from there first? What is so for each incoming record, take the product key, write a select statement on the P table, get the model name, fill it into this. ఒక్కొక్క రికార్డ్ ఇన్కమింగ్ వస్తున్న ప్రతి రికార్డ్కి ప్రోడక్ట్కి పట్టుకో దాని ప్రోడక్ట్కి మాస్టర్కి వెళ్ళిపో దాని రెస్పెక్టివ్ ప్రోడక్ట్కి మోడల్ నేమ్ ఎంత తీసుకో ఇన్సర్ట్ చేయి అంతే కదా బస్ నా ఇన్ దిస్ కేస్ ఐ క్యాన్ ఫిల్ మై మోడల్ నేమ్ బై పర్ఫార్మింగ్ లుక్అప్ టు మాస్టర్ డేట్ ఆఫ్ ప్రోడక్ట్ కీ బస్ అప్పుడు ఎలా చేస్తుంది I can do this. You don't have to write any code. SAP is giving you that. Right click, say what? Rule details. First of all, to fill this model name, what field of the source do you want to use? Product key undanu ఏది వాడాలి source లో product key వాడాలనుకుంటున్నా. Once you give product key, give the infobit name for this. What is the infobit for this product key? I know it's Z prod key. Set the infobit for అంటే ఈ product key field కి infobit అనేది సెట్ చేయి. Now drop down and say what is read master అంటే అదే ఎత్తుకుంటూ చూడు read master of what? Read master data from attribute table of product key to fill what? Model name. So that's it. You don't have to write code. SAP you see this is a symbol which tells you what? Reading from master data. Now activate. Now see my question was I have a cube. Already 1000 records are loaded to the cube. Now I change my, even when there is data I could have changed because it was line item I could not change it directly, but even when there is data in the cube I can add, but you cannot delete something, but you can add extra characteristics first, no problem. Let's say I have got a cube which is already loaded with 1000 records. Now I add a new infobit. Will that new infobit will have data first? Even after changing transformations will it have data? No. Until unless I reload the data, because the data has to go through new transformations, only then the new column gets filled. ఓకే నేను వేసిన డేటా డిలీట్ చేసేసినాను ఆ కొత్త ఫీల్డ్ ట్రాన్స్ఫర్మేషన్స్ పెట్టిన దెన్ యాక్టివేట్ మై డిటిపి ఆల్సో డూ ఐ నీడ్ రన్ మై ఇన్ఫో ప్యాకేజ్ అగైన్ డూ ఐ నీడ్ టు రన్ మై ఇన్ఫో ప్యాకేజ్ అగైన్ బస్ నో బికాస్ ఐ జస్ట్ డిడ్ ఓన్లీ చేంజ్ ద ట్రాన్స్ఫర్మేషన్ లెవెల్ విచ్ హెస్ టు ఎఫెక్ట్ ద డేటా ఓన్లీ ఆఫ్టర్ గోయింగ్ ఫ్రమ్ పిఎస్ఏ టు టార్గెట్ సో కెన్ ఐ జస్ట్ టేక్ ఇట్ అబౌట్ రీరన్నింగ్ మై డిటిపి బస్ Yeah, real time everyone has to do the same. See, you got 1 lakh records in the queue. Now you added a new infobit. For all the columns the data is filled, but this column would be blank. Why? We have not defined rules, or it was not loaded with rules. So if I need to refill that column, how will I fill? Delete and reload with the transformations for the new column. Then it starts filling all the records there again. Either it is real time or fake, everyone has to do same. That's it. There's no difference. Okay.
There is no option of without delete.
No option of without delete. డేటా తగ్గిలప్ప మరీ టైం వేస్ట్ అవుతుంది. So this is why we don't use so much of realistic data and then show you demo, because it takes more time. Your time on it is loading time, but we are learning nothing from this. So now again you are learning some modeling concepts now. So after this, if you design a cube, again you get a better, more optimized. You start getting a lot of questions now. Okay. So generally in the interview, to handle this kind of analysis in India, they try to ask you questions saying, let's say I've got metal number, simple SR. I've got metal number, metal type, metal group, 3 characteristics. How will you design a cube under? I've got 3 characteristics: metal number, metal type, metal group, and some revenue and quantity. How will you design this cube? That's what the question you get. Tell me how will you answer this?
So one thing I'll start for is, what is the relationship between these?
What is the
relationship between the material group or material type? What is it?
It's all simple. Under one group, you'll have multiple types. Under one type, you'll have multiple material. It's all one to many. Under one group, you'll have multiple types. Under one type, you'll have multiple products, metal numbers. Now, tell me. That's what the question he puts. Look up antas time bartanda. But generally in the real time, for this kind of lookup, they start writing ABAP code. Okay? But that is not advisable. You have to use ABAP రాసోడు great కాదన్నా. ABAP లేకోకుండా solution implement చేసాడు great. Because now what is happening, everyone, they just developed whatever they know. They have written a lot of coding. Now SAP says, now with BW powered by HANA, if you have routine, ABAP routine, I cannot push the logic to HANA. But if instead of writing lookup with routine, if you write it as read master data, I will push the logic to HANA. That's what he says.
Even now, there is a VLOOKUP, it's by default, it's doing it, right? It's
DSO lookup.
DSO lookup, it's doing it by default. No more writing load, but you can start looking at field level.
We should not write, that's what he says. Okay, it's done. So now if I go back to my reporting.
So would we say that one thing would be that first is the relationship, second being the...
I gave relationship one to many, one to many.
I agree. After that,
I'm not asking how you will design. I'm asking what is the design you will do. Yeah. What is the output of the design? I'm asking. Yeah. Recording. We've done nothing. Idokka complete picture. Now if I go to my dimension product, you will see multiple names. Product key underscore model name. What is this here? Navigational attribute. Model name normal as characteristic. What is it? It's a characteristic in the cube. What is this here? This is attribute. Attribute to navigational attribute to cube in the characteristic. I can also use this now. Now what is the difference you see from here to here? In the reporting behavior doesn't change. Now look at this. This is a navigational attribute, this is a characteristic in the cube. In the reporting behavior doesn't change. But only the behavior of the data, that this gives you present truth and this gives you what? Fact. Char from cube unto now. So let's see the report now. As it is in the reporting, do you see any difference with the navigational attribute and cube in the characteristic in the cube? Say this is normal attribute, navigational attribute, this is char from the cube. If I, so only sports 100 was, okay? Now let's say I remove this product key, but you still have the model name and this is still available there? Yes or no? Yeah? Now if I, so both are able to give me drill down on it. Yes or no? But only thing is, suppose if this product value changes now, for example for product key 486, what is this value? All purpose bike stand, right? For example, if I change this model name from something to sports, say I'll change it to what? Classic, what? I'll set that as bike wash. what is this 486, I'll go to master data and then change it out. Then what happens? It will change this master data and it will also change in navigation attribute, but doesn't get changed in what? The characteristic number. That should prove you that this one is giving present truth, this is giving you fact numbers. So I'll go to master data back. What was that? 486, right? Right click, maintain master data. I want to maintain the master data for 486. Execute. What is it? It says all purpose. Now you want to maintain that as what? Bike wash, or cubex wash, so that we'll understand. Change, okay. Now whenever you change master, you must activate the master data. Refresh good thing.